Hey everyone, this is Austin. Welcome back to another review of Assassin's Pride. And this episode was basically a big cliffhanger episode, and it was really good. And how did I put it? We need a calm before the storm, or calm after a giant fight. We saw this with Seven Deadly Sins and Shield Hero, and a lot more shonens too. And this isn't a shonen. I have to stress this is a bit for the more mature audience, and you can get the undertones while watching this. But nonetheless, going to the episode, we kind of see in the beginning of the episode of how this whole backstory of Ellie and Mel and why they get along so well, and it brought up a lot of good questions, and I thought it was quite interesting to find out certain parts of it. But the summary is basically Ellie always has seen Mel as a bigger sister. Mel has always defended Ellie no matter what, and I thought that was quite a nice relationship, and it wasn't anything in a sense of romance. I know some people may ship them together. If it's a ship, if it's, I'm gonna make a new rule. If there's characters, there's a ship. That's a new rule in the anime. I'm pretty sure it already exists, but I do what I want. But anyway, so it brought up the whole thing of Ellie could use magic in her second grade, and it gave us that kind of backstory that I actually really like to know about. And going on to the whole meat and potatoes of the episode, this was just the before the opening, and the opening's amazing. I actually really like the opening. We see basically Ellie is now like a lost puppy in a sense of she's just can't get off of Mel's heels. She's following around, and we kind of see this adorable moment. I actually quite like it. I'm not gonna lie, it was cute. And we see Rose trying to get her fill of Kufa, but Kufa, the man who has to say everything, basically tries to basically maintain a professional relationship with Rose. And we see the maid's actually going to be around them, and it was quite nice to see, you know, how they don't trust anyone, that family of Hellies. But that's going to come to a bigger part. The one thing I do want to say, I actually skipped over. This is my 18th recording, to say the least. I forgot about myself. Is the fact that Mel wants to be partners with, well, be in the same unit as good old, her Ellie, and we see basically after this, there's a competition that's going on, and it's for the title Luna that's going to be handed out. And this competition, there's going to be cadets that fighting, and obviously are basically going to be picked by having outstanding student achievement in this sense, or grades. And we see basically this is kind of a big thing for them, and there's going to be different things that are going to happen. And the event is called the Luna Lemire Selection Tournament, and we see that it's going to be with another school, as I said. And it's interesting because there's two students selected from each school to participate in this giant tournament. It's just like a big racket, and it's a week-long thing. And we see people that are chosen are usually cut off with all contact, and we see these two girls try to go in there, and when the statues stop the girls from going into the actual classroom, we see how well protected it is, and the Valkyries, and basically to be approved. And we see that everyone's shocked by who's going to be the cadets or the chosen ones, and they have to, obviously one's only going to survive. And it was interesting to see that it was Mel and Ellie, and this kind of, they have to face each other basically to get to participate in the finals and the whole thing. And we see that this is all going to be held in the glass good old palace, and the trial is going to be a battle royale, and kind of almost like capture the flag or flag football, that you have to take flags or pins in this case off of each other out of the three students, including it's going to be two students led by the cadet, from what the subtitles said. But I don't really trust the subtitles half the time, so if someone actually reads the light novel, do correct me. I'm kind of confused on that part. But nonetheless, we see whoever collects the most pins wins. And now we get to the opportunity, or the situation that's kind of awkward for Mel. She now has to select two other people that she wants to be in her unit, and this is kind of where the reality hits that she really never was friends with anyone. And kind of see the whole thing of she's been bullied. And this is where I like this part. We see Neva, the girl that bullied her, volunteer, and I thought this was quite nice. It kind of shows that she's progressing as a person. And we see obviously both sides get their team ready, and it's interesting to see kind of this whole character progression. And I do have to say, I know I complain sometimes it's not realistic. in anime, but I enjoy a good realistic anime, and I enjoy an anime just to enjoy it. And we see basically after the whole event, people don't think Mel deserves to be chosen. They think something happened and she did something, all these accusations, and she starts to think also that she's not worthy of it. And we see Kufa basically reassure her, and he says no matter what, he'll basically stand by her. I thought that was a nice little adorable thing, and kind of reminded me of Nefumi and Raftalia, but reverse. Raftalia's Kufa. Yeah, I'm gonna drop that. But nonetheless, we see the training actually start, and I kind of like how, you know, we see good old Kufa is instructing everyone how he doesn't want to hold anything back for Mel, because he actually had to go against good old Neva because she didn't want to injure Mel because she's using a weapon that's too heavy. And it's true to give it your 100% even in training to get better. And obviously they take a rest after the incredible training. It's just, I like that whole little part of them working together. It gave me my heart was all warm. And we think that, well, we see Mel thinks basically how she couldn't go toe to toe with Ellie, and this is kind of this whole reality hitting her again. And we see this creepy girl show up that we saw before, and she kind of just tells Mel that she wants her to win, she wants to prove herself, and then she obviously disappears when Kufa shows up. Now, the quick thing that I do want to mention, I know I didn't get to explain it too well a couple seconds ago, is I do like how this anime goes about progression. It's in an anime fashion, but a person that's horrible isn't horrible throughout the entire series. They actually have some form of wanting to be redeemed as a character, and that's a good thing to have in anime. We see with Neva. But continue on to through the episode. Sorry about that. We see basically Kufa catches Ellie's maid out of nowhere at night, and he says, "Oh, you're trying to hide the evidence," and we're like, question, what's going on? And she's actually the one that swapped the stained glass. And this brings up the question, what was her motive? And we kind of figure it out, but at this point I wonder, what did you guys think? Did you think she was just being a horrible person or anything? But continue on, we see basically Kufa just calls her out right in front of the others, and we see that the maid actually was doing it for Ellie for the sake of taking over the household, because if you remember from the last episode, the maid wants to separate Ellie and Mel. She wants Mel to take over the house, and Mel is basically the stepping stone that she needs to trample over. Well, Ellie has to trample over Mel to become that higher power, and it just, we really see how horrible the maid is. I refuse to call her by her name because she doesn't deserve it, to say the least. But we see Mel actually finally defend herself, and she says she's going to beat Ellie so she can stand by her, and I thought that was a sweet little moment. We even saw Kufa after praise Mel for standing up for herself, and I thought, that little scene between them and even before was all really good, and just, this anime is good with emotions, to say the least. It just, I'm like, oh, you go girl kind of thing. But we see Kufa basically leave the room, and out of nowhere we see an origami crow. And the one thing I want to mention right here, I'm so confused about Rose because she usually looks flat, and this didn't. The anime confuses me, okay? And we see Rose basically is worried about Ellie, and Kufa finds out, why the crow, or where the crow's from. It's from his, White Knight place. And we see the girl that's creepy, this girl right here, is Black Maddie, and we see this kind of cold confrontation right here, and it cuts right after. It's like all went to hell real fast, to say the least. And Ellie shows up to Mel's room, and as I said, this literally was like, how do I put it? This episode reminded me of the cliffhanger. I'm like, oh, I need to see this next episode, and it reminds me of Darling Franks, if you guys watched that one. But we see Maddie tells Kufa that people are questioning his loyalty to the whole faction, and when you think about a group of assassins, you kind of, you don't want anyone to go rogue because they could wipe out the entire organization without you even knowing. And we see Maddie basically start to get on Kufa's bad side and saying that she wants to get blood for Meld, which makes sense since we know that Kufa is a vampire. In lore, vampires give other people blood if they want to work under them. That's one part of it. I know there's another part of there's different types of vampires, to say the least, but that's the one that's commonly known. If you watch Supernatural, there you go. But continue on, we see Maddie is threatening to get this blood, and the clash. Then we get the cut to this part with Ellie, and as I said, it's just like boom, 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 like that. And Ellie says she's going to lose on purpose so Mel can stand by her, and Mel doesn't want that to happen because she wants to beat her at her best, basically. And we see Rose actually come to help Kufa, and all of a sudden, Maddie, she pulls out another weapon. Yeah, another one. Then another one. Then another one. Thank you. But all jokes aside, this kind of now is that weird thing that's going on because we were seeing something that's usually not a thing happening, and it brings a lot of questions up. And we see that this phrase is thrown around that Mel is the one, and from like the previous episode, what is the one? Is this like some one all-powerful person in a sense? But we see that help actually shows up, and of course Maddie disappears, and we get a little background of what I was confused about, how she's able to use every single class. And that's like pretty cool in my opinion. Well, she can't use every class, but she can imitate. There we go, if you want to be precise there. But we see Ellie doesn't think, after we get cut to them, that Mel can actually defeat her, and Ellie is doing this for herself, not for Mel, and she just wants to be in that relationship of, sisters. And, this is kind of the end part of, after the whole, like, back and forth that really, in my opinion, just made it look like there's a big storm that's going to happen, and, it was hell's to come to, basically. And we get this kind of calm ending, but not really at the same time, which kind of made the whole episode just like, you're setting me up for the next episode. I want to watch it already, okay? Give me the next episode, please. But, I thought, the ending was good, and we see this kind of relationship almost in shambles, almost. That's how I felt at the end, and I honestly love how it ended in a sense, in a cliffhanger. This, as I said, this episode's an entire cliffhanger, but honestly, really good episode. And I really love Assassin's Pride. I really do. It's been pretty good. I know this one may not be as action-packed as the other ones, but it still was something, and it gave me feelings. I'm not supposed to feel feelings, okay? But anyways, my theory about this creepy girl, are they the same? That's my question to you guys. But anyways, guys, I do thank you for watching. I will try to get the Iruma-kun next review up. It's just, there's certain words on YouTube that aren't allowed, as you know, and they're being exposed currently. But I'll try to do that, and I'll catch you guys possibly on Saturday. So, see you then. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and, do the usual. See you guys later. Signing out.